So, welcome everybody to the episode 2 of Team Up Now, this podcast. Today, we're joined by Cola Paclibar. So, she is a digital growth strategist, a brand storyteller, and the founder of Creative Kubo. So, Cola comes from a Filipino background, and she runs a multicultural agency powered by Filipino talent, built for purpose-led brands that want to do more. So Cola's background is rich and layered, and we'll get into it today. The main focus of today's podcast is talking about how to create clarity out of chaos. So we'll get started. Hey, Cola, how are you today?
Hey, Julius. Hi, Eiza. How are you?
Hi, Cola. Welcome to our podcast.
We're good. So, Cola, tell us a bit about Creative Kubo. Obviously, I mentioned a little bit, but I would love to know practically what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a little background or history of Creative Kubo is it was only really called Creative Kubo maybe 2 years ago, and we were going through a rebranding. Before that, my business was actually called GVOM, which stood for Good Vibes Only Movement. My very first business was set up in Hong Kong, and it was first and foremost a Hong Kong company. That's where I grew up. And when I moved to Australia, I decided, you know what, I'm going to be living in Australia. Let's open up the business here too. But I felt like I outgrew it. GVOM branding was very childlike. And as I felt like I had matured and we wanted something a little bit more mature. So this is why we rebranded to Creative Kubo. But our services also had evolved. We started off as a production events company back in Hong Kong. And then when the protests happened in Hong Kong and the pandemic hit in Hong Kong or China first in 2020, everyone went online and we couldn't do production or event work. And so we pivoted and created a social media management service. And that quickly went viral with our clients. Mm-hmm. And because they needed that support, a lot of people knew how to run offline marketing campaigns, was in the form of events or activations. But online was still very, very new at this point. Crazy because post-pandemic, it's everything to everyone now. But yeah, so Creative Kubo, we offer the same things. We can still offer production work. So that means set up with cameras, photo shoots, video shoots. We even do podcast production. We try to work remotely because I do try to outsource to my fellow Filipinos back in the Philippines, because my goal has always been to bring them to the global landscape of, because we have such huge potential to become global, and we're so creative. There's so much talent and it's untapped. It just needs a little bit of training and refinement. And obviously, they need that support from someone who has been outside of the Philippines to learn about how things work outside and then bring it back so that they can be taken to the global stage.
Yeah, awesome. It's really exciting. Yeah, and I think the link between wanting to take Creative Kubo, the Filipinos global to the world, I think that is very similar to our ethos in terms of that we believe that in the Philippines there's this wealth of talent that hasn't been tapped into in the best way in the past, where it's been tapped into in call centers and that kind of thing, but not necessarily for more highly skilled roles. And I think
it was very limited.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been in the creative industry for a very long time, and I feel like I've been able to over a course of trial and error and, figuring out through mistakes. I've been able to kind of tap into the talent in the creative industry, but that's just one aspect of talent in the Philippines, right? You have professionals, you have one of the things that I haven't fully tapped into is marketing, and it's crazy because that's literally my business, but I have a better grasp of creative talent than I do with anything else when it comes to the Filipino talent pool. But yeah, like
We need a graphic designer at the moment, so if you've got any,
oh, do you?
you know anyone? Yeah.
I do.
Sure.
Don't mean
Yeah.
to,
Actually,
don't mean to take over this.
yeah.
Don't mean to take
I mean,
over the podcast with
I know, like, what do
operational
you
things,
need?
but-
Yeah, you know, I need this. Do you need this? Yeah. No, but I think, yeah, it is tricky when you're kind of new into it, because I find that Filipinos are also very shy in showcasing their work. There is a level of mindset shift that needs to happen with the Filipino talent pool that doesn't happen naturally unless you've been able to experience work outside of the Philippines and come back to kind of see that difference. Because, you know, it's that group effect, like the community effect, that it's like, oh, this is what the standard is, this is what is available, this is the level that we can achieve, and therefore you stay in that level unless someone goes, hey, like, this is available for you, we can do this, you can do this, and this is what else is there to offer, right? So yeah, it's been interesting, because I'm not saying that it's perfect. I think this is why I've also reached out to Team Up now. And this is why I've collaborated with you guys in terms of finding talent, because like I said, creative talent is what I have a grasp on. The rest is still a work in progress. And the beauty of my business is that, well, right now it is at a growth spurt, and that requires a lot of support. So the timing of meeting you guys was actually perfect. So,
yeah, well, tell us a bit more about the chaos before the clarity. So, like, what before you met us, like, what was some of the things that happened when you were trying to find talent?
a big part of it was not knowing where to begin, and having been burned in the past about looking, you know, in terms of like looking for talent, you kind of develop this fear of trying to look for talent. And again, it's because when you don't have the experience or the knowledge in terms of like compiling information of what to look for, or even knowing what resources or platforms are available out there to look for, that plus not having time because you want to grow and you have to like deal with C-suite level, high level things, like it just becomes chaotic, right? Because it's like, oh, I really want this person is going to be able to like expand and grow my business with me. But in order to find that person, I have to do, this is a list of things that I have to deal with. And doing that by yourself is just, one, it's very lonely. Two, chaotic, because chaotic in the sense that I'm like, I don't know where to begin, because I have 10 million things in my head that I have to do that will immediately create a result in my business right now. So it's like the instant gratification versus long-term planning. And that's where the chaos really begins, right? It's because I'm doing the things that I can do right now to create a result, but I'm not really planning for the future. So enter you guys. And that's when it was like, well, because I've been thinking about it, you know, and it was one of those things that like, yeah, I could do it now. If I find something that will help grow my business, I was kind of ready for that too. I think there's a level of readiness that needs to happen. But it was also what really stood out for me that you guys provided was that layer of support and like an understanding what it is that I needed, that made me think about, do I really need this support right now? And what am I really looking for in terms of that support? And yeah, because, you know, like for me, for example, I'm a small business, but I want to grow. So, and I thought back in the day, this is where the chaos really began. Back in the day, I thought that meant, oh, I need more creatives on my team, because the more creatives, the more clients. But then it was like no one was dealing with inbound or lead generation or just getting more clients in. I had a team of creatives waiting for projects, but no projects coming in. So it was like,
it's agency life that you either have too much staff or not enough staff. Unless you get
realize
right.
that there's a lot of different aspects in the business, and then sometimes you just, you know, get yourself so engrossed in one aspect of the business and you fail to you forget like, oh, I actually need this other side. Like it needs to be done as well. So
exactly. And honestly, I think working with Team Up Now, I felt like I had a business partner that was helping me with looking at what else could I be doing, or who else could I be putting into my team that was gonna really help me scale and nurture that growth. And and the thing is like I could go really fast if I wanted to, but I could also just do it step by step. And again, I think that's one thing that really stood out for me, for you guys, is that it was just really thoughtful, intentional support. It was more of like learning what I needed. And it was very bespoke and like curated to my needs, which you don't really find in a lot of like outsourcing businesses. Like it's very much like a one for all, like this is what you need, and they tell you what you need versus they ask for what is it that you need and where are you right now, what can we put in place in order for you to grow. So
So speaking about the support that you get from Team Up Now, Cola, so can you talk about how working with Reva, your staff, has helped shift in your day to day?
Reva has shifted my whole life. Reva is great. I think Reva was the perfect fit for my business, and she was exactly what I was looking for, not just from a skills level, but from an energy level, from a personality level, from a goals level. So she really tick on so many things that I was looking for. I think a lot of times people worry that they have a great personality but they don't have the skill set, or they have the skill set but they don't have the great personality. But honestly, Reva is like really amazing, and she helps with creating systems for my lead generation, which I've always just been the one doing business development for my own business, on top of actually doing the actual work, and on top of client management and project management and account management and accounting, and
and that's Nicola, we've been there. We've done exactly the same thing before we team up.
I'm sure you guys know. So it's like having that one bit, and the thing is, I'm still involved in it. Like we work really closely together, but I have that support in terms of like I can come up with the ideas. I have more space to actually think about, who do we actually want to target? And that was part of my chaos. Part of my chaos was we were just doing or targeting everyone and not having, our messaging was out of whack. It was like confusing, it was all over the place. But the moment that Reva came in, it allowed space for me to actually sit and think about, these are the things that she needs. So Reva was like, I need these things. And I was like, oh, great questions and great checklist. I don't have 50% of this. So it was an opportunity to sit down and be like, okay, well, this is what we need in order to be able to generate good leads that match what we're looking for in our clients. And we can also like really service really well. So yeah, it's been a great experience with Reva. I think it also takes time. Like I think that was one of the things that I had to understand, that this wasn't one of those things where you get instant gratification and then overnight you become a success just because you hired the one person. This was again nurturing not just a relationship with the person that you're working with, but everything else, like the back end systems, like the business aspect of it. So
we love we love Reva as well. And I remember in the hiring process with Reva, I think we found her initially for your role, and there was a little bit of time in terms of like going from start to finish in terms of her being hired, and like me and Marion were like the biggest Reva fans. I remember in our group chat with Eiza, we're like doing hashtag Team Reva, like in terms of like, can't wait for her to be hired.
We talk about her like the whole day.
Yeah.
We gotta tell Reva to watch this episode. Like,
well, she better. But I think coming back to your point before about like having staff that have experienced overseas and that kind of thing. It's like, yes, like ideally, like every Filipino staff member should have had that experience, or to be a great staff member. But like, what can Eiza and I do to help instill that into our staff members so that they actually have that kind of worldly view, which I think is important. And I think Reva's just like one of those people that we didn't even have to, like, she's never worked internationally, but she's just got that understanding of, customer service and understanding what client needs and wants, and pushing back, which I think is sometimes, even though it's like, oh, I wish you could just do it, but at least the questions are coming and you're like, okay, that's a great question. I have to actually think about that. And that's something that it doesn't always happen with offshore staff unless you really like instill it in them. But she was just like, Marion, who's our recruiter, and I just worked out straight away, like, this is someone we need to hire. Like, Colin needs this person. I think I messaged you, Colin, saying, you need to hire Reva.
Yeah,
like,
you did.
I put everything on the line for Reva because I know she's going to be a fantastic staff member.
I know. And honestly, like, I mean, and another thing about your process is that, you really do find the right person, because if it isn't, then you ask for my feedback and I'm like, well, it's not half done, basically. Like, it's almost like, if you're not completely happy with it, then don't go with it, but, and then, but you also vouch for the people, and you really listen to my needs and my requirements. And because Reva wasn't the first interview we had.
Yeah, she was the third interview.
Yeah, she was the third interview we had. But it was crazy because the first two were actually there were elements there that I really liked, but there were elements that didn't work out for me. And then you learned from it. It's like you took it, you put it together, and then you found Reva.
She was like the best of both worlds. That's our process with clients is really understanding. And we our systems are set up as well so that it's not just Eiza and I and Marion's view on things. Like, we're recording all the meetings, we're like analyzing it, putting it through AI systems, and really like going, okay, well, these are the 5 things that Colin needs from this person. We need to make sure we can find someone, and then using that in our interviewing process to find that person. And it probably does take longer sometimes because of that. We're starting to build up a bit of a pool of people that we've interviewed that haven't been exactly right for a role, but they're right for another role potentially down the future. But like, it's a lot worse for us for you to take someone that doesn't work out, because we're going to have to go through that whole process again. If you stay on as a client, you're going to have to go through that whole process again to find that person, rather than spend an extra week or two, like, just really going, okay, we found like someone that seems perfect.
And it doesn't help anyone, when we do that. It's not like nobody is winning. So we'd rather like take like the longer process, but we make sure that this is the right fit. This is the right person, not just like skill set wise, but also with the values, because we are really big on that. And I think that's one thing that makes this relationship actually successful, because you have aligned values with your staff member. So I think, Reva like just hits all the boxes, really. In terms 100%. Of skill set and values.
So in terms of going back to more about your business and what you guys are doing, so how do you, like, you mentioned that the name before was GVM, was it?
GVOM, GVOM, yes.
Which was good vibes, right? And like, I feel like you still have a very similar ethos, just maybe the name's different. How do you, like, so I feel that, Creative Kubo is very rooted in values in terms of how you run your business. How do you manage that compared to, meeting budgets and deadlines and everything? Like, how do you lead with that in the background?
I think over time I've had to also sit with like, what really is the purpose of my business. And originally, and the reason why it was called Good Vibes Only Movement, was we wanted to add positivity, or we wanted to create positive impacts with like the businesses that we work with. And we wanted to work with businesses who promoted that positivity as well. But it quickly shifted, or as we grew up, it shifted from just promoting positivity to creating that impact, but creating a specific type of impact as well for a community that was very close to me, to my heritage, to my culture, and which is why we named it Creative Kubo, because Kubo actually means hut in Tagalog, and it's like an homage to my culture, to my Filipino culture. And it was almost like the idea was to create like a creative hut, a space, a sanctuary for creatives to come through, to be able to experience and to express their creativity authentically and intentionally on a global platform, on a global level and standard. So, but like that, so that's like the intention behind the brand. And then it's another thing to kind of be the person in front of the brand, trying to educate and tell this story of this is what we want to do, but making it practical for people to, it's a service. Like it's not just an organization or community, it's a service, and we can provide that service to you. So there has been a little bit of trying to educate people on the value of the work that we do, because ever since I actually switched the name and people find out that I'm Filipino, there sometimes is this stereotypical, like you're Filipinos, it shouldn't be that expensive, like to hire you. Yeah. It shouldn't be.
It sucks that you have to go through that.
Yes. Yeah. And I've gone through that my whole life. Like I grew up in Hong Kong as well. So, and in Hong Kong, it was even worse back in the day because most of the Filipinos were domestic helpers and they took care of people's kids. That was me as a child growing up and seeing this and people expecting me to turn into that. It was something that I had to kind of like, it was a challenge I had to face and I had to overcome. But through that, like I really do see, and because I've been through that, it is easier for me to have these difficult conversations, because if I don't have them, then people aren't going to learn that just because my talents are from the Philippines, here is a roster of clients that I've worked with, and I've worked really hard in the last almost a decade to build this up. And, it was slow in the beginning, but now it's easier to say, well, here's the quality of the work that we can provide. And this quality of work doesn't just come with delivery. It comes with quality customer service. It comes with intentional support, and it comes with us actually feeling like we have a stake in your business. And because if you win, I win. And not everyone has that ethos, or not everyone has that mindset. Not everyone will offer that or list it down in their services that, on top of all of the things that I'm going to deliver, you can call me when you're having a hard day. So,
it's a good service. Maybe I should be taking that service a little bit more.
Just WhatsApp me, Jules.
Your story, Cola, is very similar to what was happening in the outsourcing industry, like the traditional outsourcing industry. So when they first outsourced to the Philippines, a lot of these big businesses actually like exploited the talents, because they're thinking that we are valued less than people on shore. And and that's one thing that what we're doing now with Team Up Now is we wanted to challenge that, and we wanted to change that into a more ethical outsourcing. I love that. Compared to the traditional outsourcing.
I love that. And you know what, I think it's a slow, like it'll happen. It won't happen overnight again. Like we won't change people's minds overnight. But more of us need to come up. Like more of us need to rise, and with that same intention. Like, and I think it's first educating people that just because this is and the thing is, I'm in Manila right now. It's not that cheap. It's like it's not as cheap as people think, and it's like, so if we're looking at or thinking about standards of living and the value and what money is like here, like it's at the end of the day, everyone pays for something, and if we are promoting growth, like we need to be able to look at it from a holistic perspective, and not just from a point of like, oh yeah, they're cheap here, let's go there. But how can you contribute to that society and to that community that you benefit from, right? Like you use them So it's like, how do we help each other? Like, you're helping me, I must help you back. So
in terms of people that are hesitant to outsource because of these type of reasons, ethical reasons or any other reasons, like what would you say to somebody that hasn't outsourced in the past, and the experience with us or other ethical agencies, how do you think that might shape their thinking?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is, if you're sick and tired of doing everything by yourself, which I'm sure you are, then just first thing to do is ask for help and support, but ask from the right people. And I think you guys are a really good starting point, and creating that long-term relationship with you guys is actually a great idea. But so it's like, if you've never done outsourcing, go to Team Up now. If you have and you've been burned, go to Team Up now. Yeah, and I think it's just, don't wait until you're burnt out to actually ask for help, because then you won't be in the right mindset to actually vet who you're asking help from. And you're going to be very it's just not a good experience. So plan ahead, think about it now, think about Team Up now, think about what I'm saying, and create space for yourself by asking for support. And that's available here.
Yeah, I think that planning is key. Like, you don't want to just, we've fallen into it before, where we've helped somebody rush into something, and the type of client that's rushing into something isn't always the best, because they're usually a little bit disorganized. So I think just really, what we say to clients is really try to work out exactly what you need, exactly what you want, what they're going to be doing. We can help you create SOPs, systems, but if you don't have that, like, start thinking about that before you start outsourcing, because you can't just expect somebody that's sitting in across the world to just be able to pick up and read your mind. And I think that's something that, like, happens every so often. So,
that's very true.
Yeah, so I think being intentional about it and going, they could take this off my hands. I'm going to give them the best opportunity to be successful in taking that off my hands. I think it's very important when you're going through the outsourcing process. And that's something that we do. We sit down with people and really, like you said before, in our, beginning stages, we're really just trying to understand what the client actually wants. And that often isn't what they say they want. They'll say they want one thing, and then you're like, oh, what about X, Y, Z? And then they're like, I actually, like, I need that as well. And then you work out this role is actually quite more, like, a lot more well-rounded than it, like, that potentially one thing that they're thinking that they need to do. So, our job is to kind of get that out of people. And I think you're right. Yeah, thank you. I think you're right. In the past, maybe that's not something that's necessarily been the case with outsourcing, where it's just like bums on seats and that's all anyone cares about.
Yeah.
So looking forward, Cola, like, what's the plans for Creative Kubo? Like, what are you trying to achieve over the next 12 months?
Yeah, definitely scale is on my mind. And that just means working with aligned clients. Now that I have Reva, who helps me with my sales and lead generation, I definitely think we're on the right path. I think I've had Reva for about 2 months. And in the beginning, we were kind of going for like a very general approach. And we've landed on something very specific. Like, it's been a few weeks with that same strategy, and we've already gotten people in the books to talk to. So
it just keeps getting better in time. Like, you get to understand more about each other. And it's like you're sharing a lot of you're sharing best practices. 2 heads better than one. So
exactly. And this is when I say, like, it's not about the instant gratification. It's about long-term planning. It's not about getting something done or changing things overnight, because I think scale for me really is about planning ahead, visualizing what you want to create, and then also, like, knowing who to tap to be able to achieve that and get that done.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Cola. A lot of insight in terms of what it's like on the client side, and obviously it's great feedback for us to take away and make sure we keep doing the way that we've been doing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. It's been really good. Thanks, Cola, for joining us. Thanks, Eiza, for co-hosting with me. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Cola. Thanks, Jewel.
Bye.